first, I would like to thank Cindy for having me out. I always loved giving riding lessons, and for better or for worse in my life, I have the gift of gab. So I'm really grateful that I have a way to help people and to come here and experience this event. I'd also like to thank the Georgia State Equine Commission for having me come out, and this place is amazing. I grew up in southern Illinois, surrounded by corn and bean fields, and this place really is amazing. I feel like I'm in a weird round in Disneyland. So I'm really grateful to be here. The mare I'm sitting on, this is her first trip to town, and I'm impressed by her and all the horses here by being private jet broke. So if we have some interruptions with airplanes landing behind us, I apologize. The horses don't seem to mind, so I don't seem to mind. All of the horses here are at different levels of training and also different disciplines. So not all of them are reiners, full-time anyway. And what I hope that'll demonstrate to everyone is how the foundation of reining is just what it takes to make an extremely broke horse that is fun to ride, safe to ride, that has longevity. And by longevity, I mean like that bay mare on the far right is 25 years old and has raised more kids and taught more people to ride than most kindergartner teachers will teach in a year, right? Fantastic horse. Just having a really solid foundation has made her just really steady and consistent and willing to do anything. So willing is actually the foundational phrase, willingly guided, that we focus on as reining horse trainers to create a show horse. And it's really a horse that will allow us to do whatever we want and to make them very trainable and just good partners. And we challenge that through adding speed, having rules about different penalties on the speed control. And how many of you guys have heard of reining before I get too ahead of myself? Okay, a couple of you guys. So for those of you who haven't, I want you guys to picture ice skating, but on horseback. Okay. So I kind of warmed her up earlier with some spins. That is one maneuver that we have in the aspect of a reining horse, and we're going to demonstrate in this session the circles, the lead changes, and the spins through these different horses that we have here. Yesterday we worked on rundowns and rollbacks in the afternoon session, and I'm all about the needs of the horse, so depending on what these horses and these riders need will determine what we do in the second session today. So, circles. How many of you guys ride horses? Some of you guys might not ride. Okay, a good party. So for those of you guys who are just curious about horses and don't know anything about them, I'm going to explain what leads are, because if I just describe circling to you, it sounds super easy. And if you watch a finished horse do it, it looks easy. And it's supposed to look easy, because easy is what's fun. However, it takes a lot of hard work and practice to make something easy and to make it look pretty. So let me see who's warmed up. Can I have the paint circle? Could you do some right circles over there? Just look slow for a couple small slows, and then I want to see 2 big fast, small slow changes. Okay, perfect, thank you. So that was a lead departure, where the horse goes from a standstill or a walk and lopes off, and that is what we call a lope. It is very natural. That horse could canter like that in that speed all day if you wanted to, that small, slow speed, I like to have it at kind of a cruise control speed. And the feel that I like to have on a reiner is that when you're sitting relaxed and just gently waving your calves, they go along at that cruise control speed. Now if you'll watch her, she'll just move her legs slightly more, like she's stepping down gently on the gas pedal of a car. And as long as she holds that pedal down at that exact position, that horse will stay at that speed. And if she steps down more and goes faster, come on a little bit, good job. Notice that her hand is in the middle, and when she's pushing on the horse, he stays locked onto that circle. Good. And all she did to ask that horse to slow down was just pull off that gas pedal, and that horse came right back to that cruise control speed. The right legs are in front of the left, and she's going to change to where now the left legs are in front of the right. So that was a lead change. Very good job. Thank you. So like I said, all the horses in the demo are at different levels of training. So let's go to a horse that maybe doesn't have that level, because that horse is show ready to make a pattern and try to win a little paycheck and be able to buy everyone dinner, right? Well, let's go to someone who's further behind in training, who's a green horse is what it's called, is a horse that is not finished, is not ready to make a pattern. This is our second demo clinician. This is Garrett of Garrett's Equine Path, and what he can do with the Mustangs is really phenomenal, and what he can do with quarter horses is also really amazing. This horse has been in rein cow horse training, and obviously reining being a major part of what you need, a foundation of what you need before you bring out a cow, right? And add a cow in the mix. So this horse is still in a snaffle, and he lopes it off. See if you can get her a little bit slower. If a horse is ahead of their gas pedal on your legs, what I like to do is just hug them with my legs, just squeeze my calves around them, and steer. Just go ahead and cut across and steer, squeeze your legs, wrap them around, and just steer a 90 degree. Good. And now look at how much slower and softer this horse's legs are touching the ground. When a horse's feet touch the ground softly, it means it's a smoother ride for you as well. I also don't like to just hold onto the horse's face and pull back to slow down. I always like to connect it to the horse's feet. Because I want every touch of the horse's mouth to mean that they need to change something, either by steering or by coming back. And so I feel like pulling back and just holding them slow the entire time, or pulling back, slowing them down, and then putting your hands forward, that's kind of like when you were a kid and you ask your mom if you can go over to a friend's house and she says no, and you ask why, and she just goes, because I said so. Well, horses don't like that answer. That usually means you're getting ready to bicker with them. And arguing with a horse sometimes is a lot like arguing with a toddler, right? It's just, they're much stronger and much bigger than you. So what I like to do is be persuasive with my horses first and give them the option to learn. So I like to show those horses what I want them to do, not just tell them, no, don't do that, right? So now that this horse can go on softly, relaxed, let's go ahead and push the speed. Come on, a little bit more. I want you to push the speed until she falls apart. Don't play it safe, let this horse make a mistake. I really like this horse's instinct whenever Garrett pushes on that gas pedal with his legs is to stay locked on the circle, and in fact stay to the inside of the circle a little bit. That is a much easier fix than when the horse you step on the gas pedal and move your speed up and you leave the circle. So Garrett, whenever you feel like this horse is not paying attention, I want you to sit and just relax, quit riding. Okay, 3, 2, 1, pull back. And just stop. And back up. Back up. Here we go. Relax. them back calm, good, and then stand there. And let him catch his breath, let him think. So I try not to be in a hurry about correcting my horse. You notice that he cued for the slowdown back in the corner, and he didn't correct that horse until a good 5 strides after he missed the slowdown, right? I do that because I want the horse to have the opportunity to make the mistake and commit to making the mistake. As humans, we can feel the horse and what they're thinking, but the horse isn't processing necessarily that they've had that thought. So we become, as we have feel for the horse's body language, we can feel as we're sitting up here, I can feel all the muscles in their body and how they're moving around. I can feel like they're breathing, and they're breathing great when I'm sitting up here. So I can certainly feel when they're a little tight or when they're leaning a little way. But what I like to do is wait until that horse is not just leaning, but leaving and making a commitment to making that mistake before I pick up on them and show them what I want them to do instead, right? So this horse, let's go ahead and walk, look off, and go again, and see if she has thought about it. We stood still to demonstrate to that horse that what we're asking to do is something they already want to do, which is stand still, relax, slow down. Again. Pick a different location. And then when you get maybe over here, just quit riding. You can hum to her, give her a little extra speed if you want to. Quit riding. Nice. Go ahead and walk. You lost your lid. So anyway, what I like about that horse is that instead of ignoring him, she came back a little bit. But what I like to do is get those horses to over-try, because whenever you put them in a stressed environment or a distracted environment, they're going to possibly give you a little less. So I always like to exaggerate the slow down. You notice that the finished horse went from large fast speed to a small slow speed. I like to exaggerate what I'm asking them to do by coming down to a walk, all the way down to a walk. And then from there, you can take your leg and just squeeze them forward and have complete control over the exact speed that that horse is sloping through that downward transition. Good job, Garrett. We'll let her walk, and we'll have someone else come out and demonstrate lead changes, I think. Are those two ready for lead changes? We'll start with Penn, and then we'll go to the buckskin, I think. Okay? So this horse is a rein cow horse, and he changes leads great going fast. And the small slow lead change at the beginning of these sessions, he was wanting to speed up and push his face and kind of rush through the lead changes while going slow. So let's see what he decides to do today, if we've been making any progress through all these sessions. Let's go ahead and do right knee counter canter to the left. So go ahead and squeeze, pick up, make him soft, and relax. So he's anticipating a little bit. He's been working on it a lot. He's trying to volunteer the correct answer. So we need to let him know that the actual thing we're asking is one little step at a time. That we are literally only asking for the counter canter right now. And he's volunteering to do the thing that we're going to want to do. And this is what the challenge of training a reining horse that's further along and finished is. Anytime he tries to get ahead of you or anticipate that change, I want you to just slow his legs down, slow his brain down. Okay. And whenever he's... There we go. Good job. So the reason that was a good lead change for this horse, it's not finished, it's not polished like that first horse, but what I like to do is remember what happened last, and just for the needs of this horse and for the context of this horse, he stayed the same speed, and he stayed softer in the face. He didn't push and raise up like he did on the first session. So there were things about it that were better. So even though it wasn't what we want, I don't want you to think that it's all bad and it's not good enough and panic. We're just going to do it again, okay? Let's look off on the right lead into a counter canter. Good. I also want you to not feel like you have to hide from him in the counter canter because you're afraid of him making a mistake. Does that make sense? So go ahead and pick up on it and just mess with it in there. Squeeze with your left leg. See how he's anticipating? Relax. Put him back into that right lead. And I want you, in the end, to be able to do anything with him, to squeeze him, to push him in that counter canter. And he in his way, and he has to just tolerate it. And he has to just say, yes ma'am, whatever you want from me. I trust you to put me in whatever position. And I'm not going to stress, and I'm not going to try to anticipate. I'm just going to follow your lead. So don't have to just handle him in that counter canter. Don't hide from him and try to protect him. There you go. Good. Just play with him in that counter canter. Make him just relax his neck muscles and relax his feet. He's still a little tight. Just play with him right there. That's better. You can feel his feet hit the ground softer. Or just casually change your legs and let him just slip into that other lead. Good. He's late behind. Okay, let's go ahead and walk. Good. So I never really understood why when you turn horses loose in the pasture, they'll run around and they'll change leads and they're having fun. And then when you go to teach them to change leads, it becomes an event. And you're trying to hit them through it, you're trying to make them change leads, and you're trying to time it right, and you have to work on it, grind on it, and then the horses start to learn to change leads, and then they're anticipating and they're panicked, and then you have to, you're basically creating problems that down the road you're going to have to fix. So the root of that problem is that we as humans know that that's a maneuver and that there's a right and a wrong way to do it. Horses have no concept of right or wrong. We teach them what's right or wrong. And so there are things that we create problems because we scold them and tell them that they've done something wrong, and then they get anxious about it. And the future problems that we're trying to fix are there because they're anxious about how we're going to cue them to change leads. And so this horse in the counter canter, how he was tight, and he was changing leads with the front, and he was just not wanting to stay relaxed in a counter canter and wait on her. That's because of some past experiences of how he was possibly taught to change leads or schooled and corrected on the lead change. So now, even though it's not correct still, because he's late behind, it would still be a penalty, it is still so much more manageable and just calm down from the first session that I don't mind that he's late behind yet, right? Remember, he's waiting on you for the counter canter and he's relaxed and his muscles stay consistently relaxed. Then you can kind of start having that expectation of getting through. Right now, you have less of a chance of getting him to change leads without creating a problem in the future because you're still working on getting him to be soft and relaxed and wait on you for that change. Does that make sense? So then when you go home, when you keep working on this, really focus on that counter, keeping him to just squeeze on your forearm and chin, and just let him have his muscle like butter, and he's just waiting on you every drive. And when he's doing that consistently, then you can start them is correct and penalty free, that means you're at 25%. So when you go to show, you have a 25% chance of being penalty free whenever you make those left center circles, right? So as you're practicing, you can track your progress by, as you do the repetition, keeping track, like, okay, that was 3 out of 4 correct, or 75%, and then just keep working on it really steady and methodically, just making it a little bit better every day, and next thing you know, you'll be 4 for 4, and then you know, all right, I'm ready to pay that entry fee, right? Let's go counter canter on the left lead to the right, do the same thing. And then what you can start doing is challenging him, where you pick up on his skis, hold them, put them anywhere, and then toss away the slack on the reins completely, and change your legs, and let him change leads on the slack. And what that does is add a level of difficulty to the maneuver that you're doing, to where the judge is more likely to reward you by giving you, instead of just a 0 on your circle maneuver, a +half to a +1, depending on how fast you run your circles, right? So this way he looks much more relaxed. But let's go and challenge that. Get into his business a little bit and squeeze him. Nice. This way he's much more relaxed. Relax your hands down a little bit, like over his face. See what he does if you let go of him a little bit. Speeds up a little, but he still have to relax stride to him. So now, whenever you feel like it, casually change your legs and let him step into that other lead. Very nice. Go ahead and walk. Okay, so now we know with this horse. Now we know with this horse that you need to work on counter cantering on the right lead, just making him soft and wait on you. And it's likely that the right to left lead change will just resolve itself as he's more relaxed on the right to left lead change. So let's do the buckskin. So this guy has never changed leads before this expo, and so we've been teaching him the lead changes throughout. And let's see if he's stepped up a little bit and if we've been making progress. Let's go with easy way first. Yeah, let's do that. So right lead, circling towards the left. Other lead. So one thing horses will sometimes do is learn their leads based on which direction they're traveling. And that's something that can help us teaching the lead changes, because the horse has acknowledged that it's more comfortable to be going to the left on the left lead. However, we want to be able to designate the leads based on what leg we push them and cue them with. And so she had to kind of, the horse was telling her that she was wrong, and she had to tell him, no, this is a new thing that we're doing, buddy. You gotta listen to me. So push him forward, and whenever you feel like he's moving forward off of your leg, that looks really good, just change your leg. Let's move. Encourage him. Kick, flop that right leg. Okay, change the front. Nice! Good job. Go ahead and walk. I love that. Okay. So the reason I love that better than yesterday is because yesterday what he was doing was he was wanting to fall into the left. And today he only came in maybe a little bit, changed in the front, and after a stride or two, he found it in the back. So let's go the other way and see what he decides to do. And what the horse decides to do determines what we do. What I don't like to pre-decide what the horse is going to need. Let the horses make a mistake, and then that determines how you're going to show them what you want them to do. Go ahead and go forward a little bit more. More forward. Good. So I really like how this horse is kicking his legs forward and really flowing forward. Nice. Good job. All right. Well, what are we going to do with all this time that he decided? That was awesome. That was so much better than yesterday. It's really easy when you have a lazy horse to teach them things, because when you reward them by breaking down to a walk, that's like giving a kid candy. They really figure out that when they give you the correct answer, they get to relax, and that's when they really start to make progress. So, let us work on spins. What time is it? Does anyone have a phone? 11:01, and we go until 11:30. Okay, perfect. Let's do spins. Alright, come on up, everybody. Well, let's start with the bay mare on right there on the spins. Come on up closer. Don't be people shy. I don't see any tomatoes in the audience, so they're not gonna. Alright, so let's start with this bay mare over here. Let me get out of the way. Come on up to the middle. Keep going. Nice, okay. Ooh, go ahead and stop. So, I don't want you to work so hard. Okay? First of all, I really like your shirt. Sorry. But anyway, so I don't want you to work so hard, right? So whenever you're turning, I want you to be sitting in neutral, which is that your feet are just relaxed, kind of off to the side, and your hand is sitting in the middle. Okay? And then let her decide to do the right thing, which is to stay in the turns, and then just keep stepping around, right? So I don't want you to be holding your leg in her and making her stay in the turns and making her keep going, because then when you want to speed up, you don't really have any more pressure to apply to cue her to speed up, right? So I want your neutral speed, or your cruise control speed, to be with your legs off. So you're going to start the turns with your hands, and then when she's committed to being in the turns, then you can put it back down. Let her stop on her own. Let her quit turning, and then just give her a little thump with your leg. Just kind of flop your leg on her, and see if she'll put herself back in the turn. Okay? Let's go ahead and go again. Okay, kick with your foot. Kick. Okay. There. Sit there and do nothing. Relax your leg. No, I can see your foot tapping her. Leave your foot alone. There, now tap her. Now tap her and tell her to keep going. There you go. Tap her. I don't care how ugly it looks. I don't care if you're flopping around all over the place. Good. Now stop. So what's happened with this horse is every time you pull your foot away, she thinks that means stop, right? So right now, every time you go back to releasing the pressure, we're changing the meaning of that to mean just stay in the turn and just step around, okay? And so what we're going to have to do is lay the rein, turn, and then I'm going to let her stop, and then kick with my foot, put her back in the turn, and then release and let her step around on her own, okay? But let her stop, and then you're just going to cue for the turn again and just kind of flop that foot, and then sit there, let her stop, cue for the turn again, flop your foot, okay? And then, real quick before you begin, when she's turning by herself with your legs off of her, we're gonna say whoa and give her a reward for turning by herself, okay? Go ahead and go again. Yeah, sure. Tap. Yep. Get in and get out with your foot. Don't get caught with your foot staying in there. Good. Kick. There, good, stop. Good. Okay, so it's easy whenever you kick them in the turn to leave your leg in there and get stuck holding them. So I want you to think whenever you kick in the turn about getting in with your foot and then popping it back out. Okay, it's just going to be, it's a habit that everyone, when they learn to rein, they have to break at some point in time. But once you do, you're going to find that your turns are easier, and when they're moving on their own, it frees you up to make other corrections because you have the horse providing the motion for you and the momentum for you, so then you can make other corrections. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go ahead and turn that other way. The same thing. Keep your legs off. If you need a kicker, kick, and then we'll pop it back out, like kick and release. Okay? Kick and release. Kick, tap. Good. Good. Good job. Puck, puck. Puck, puck. Kick. Good. Good stuff. This horse is so broke she speaks English, so whenever I say go ahead and stop, she just steps off. All right, let me see someone else. Would you like to go? Okay. So he is super lazy. And so what I want you to really focus on is a steady and fair escalation of pressure. And so you're going to give a verbal cue of cluck, cluck. And if he doesn't speed up, then I want you to flop him pretty hard, okay? He's broke, he knows better, and so him being lazy is really actually him ignoring you, right? So let's go ahead and move your, so it's hand, cluck, cluck, kick. Hand, cluck, cluck, kick. Hand, cluck, cluck, kick. Very good. Let's stop. There we go. And make sure that it's just a, okay, don't, okay? Because what we're teaching him is that cluck is the cue that, hey buddy, you know what you need to do, and if you don't, then I'm going to flop my foot and make it uncomfortable for you to stay that slow. And what I really liked about him is when you told him to speed up and he sped up, he stayed at that speed on his own, and you didn't have to keep clucking like you did the other day. So let's go the other direction. Same thing. You're going to use your hand, cluck, cluck, kick. But if he listens to the cluck, then you don't have to kick, right? Good. Go ahead and kick. Kick harder. Harder. Flop that foot. I want to see that foot come off of you. Come off of his side and flop on him. Harder. Good. Stop. Okay. So then the other part of that is when you cluck, cluck, kick, he needs to speed up. Otherwise, you got to kick him again and just keep flopping your leg and using your spur on his belly until he actually speeds up the tempo of his feet. Okay. So let's go one more time and pay attention to the cadence of those front feet. And if he's speeding up or staying the same speed after you've given him the cluck. Be careful about wiggling around and moving your hand. Speed up. Wind up. Kick him. Kick him. Go. Kick it. Good, stop. Good. So the other thing that you want to be careful is you don't want to tell your horse, hey buddy, we're about to turn. Okay? Because then what happens when you go to show and you start moving like that, the horse goes, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And that's when they won't stand still in the middle. So what I'll do is I'll reverse that and I'll flop around like, oh, I'm going to do something. And I'll just sit and look around, relax, and then walk around. And then I'll stop, flop around. Oh, we're going to turn, we're going to turn, we're going to turn. And then do nothing. And then I'll sit quiet. And when the horse is looking off to the left, I'll go, okay, turn right. And turn the horse. You know what I mean? So, especially before I show, I'll spend, or if I'm schooling, I'll get into the middle and I'll flop my legs around, wiggle the saddle, wiggle the reins, until they just relax in the middle. So that's what I think you just need to watch that your body language isn't telling him that you're about to turn before you start to spin. Okay? Let's go to him. Same thing with you. I saw that. You like wiggled your seat, you got just right, and then you're about to ask him to turn. So those are cues that you're teaching him accidentally for the turn. And so we want the only cue and anticipation to be the rein just resting on the withers right there. So same thing that I told her, just flop around and have it be nothing. And then when they're looking off in a totally opposite direction, ask them to turn and just challenge their attention span and to challenge how much they're paying attention to you. Because when you're in the show pen, what's going to happen is you're in the middle for a reining pattern, and the first thing they're going to do is look at the gate. All of them do that, where they look up at the stands. So you need those horses to, when they're looking somewhere else, they're broke enough that when they feel that rein, they go. And you're not wrestling for their attention for them to do this before you can make it spin, right? So those are just some little things you can do to practice and prepare yourself for the distractions of a show arena. So let's go ahead and turn. Don't wiggle. Okay, pull on him, make him soft, make him soft. I don't care that he flops around. I don't care, just get him to relax his muscles. Slow down a little bit. I don't want you to pull on him like you care. Don't wrestle with him. Just pull on him like you're just seeing what he'll do and if he'll come to you. Nice. Go ahead and stop. So, we as humans, we care whether or not they give us a certain answer. And so sometimes we'll pull on them quickly and try to make them do it. I want you to pull on him like you're just going to experiment and see what he decides to do. Just do it way more casually, like you don't care if he turns good or not. You're just finding out if he will spin, no matter what body position you put him in, no matter how far back your hands come, no matter what, that he'll find his balance and he'll keep stepping around toward you, right? But just pull on him like you don't care, nice and slow. Good. You just pull on his head, soft in his face, nice. The other thing too is, I'm going to keep talking, you just keep turning a little bit, and whenever he's relaxed, then turn on his own. Nice. Good. So a soft horse is a fast horse. If you hit speed without that softness, that's when you lose cadence, that's when you get tightness in the rundown, and they're not likely to make a smooth, soft stop, but a good stop. And if they're running fast on the circle, but they're not soft, they're not likely to have a very correct reaching. Good, stop. Good. I don't even care that he's migrating right now. I don't care about any of that. What I care about, based on this horse's previous sessions, that when she pulls on him, that he gets round and soft. That is my only expectation that we're pulling on him for today. Let's go the other direction, same thing. They can turn like that all day. When they're tight and their muscles are tight, they can only turn like that for a couple revolutions, and then things start to fall apart, right? So, in teaching them to turn soft and with balance, then you can ask them to speed up, and they wind up, and they can still breathe, they can still do everything, and keep their cadence, and you can increase the speed, shut off, and those turns just look fluid and effortless. And that is how you create a horse's turns, or put turns on a horse that will give them longevity in their career, right? You're not likely to have turns that start to go bad whenever you want to show pen if they just turn fundamentally like the piece is correct. So I like that. Good job. Well, let's watch these two. These two are much greener. So these are going to be horses that turn a little bit more like 2-year-olds. Instead of finished show horses, and so we're going to be working on that. Good. Same thing that we did with that other horse. Squeeze, pull on, and just mess with them. Outside wing, bump, bump, left, right wing, bump, bump, left, right. Just start bumping. Just start messing with her. Good boy, stop. That was so much better than yesterday. Okay. But now we can ask for a little bit more, expect a little bit more, I think, by getting her to, because what happens whenever they use their neck to balance is that their feet come a little bit closer together, so they're able to clear their leg over the other leg better, and they're still on their butt. So I want you to ask, she's starting to give her pull, and her face is kind of flexing in whenever you do that. Now I want kind of her neck to curl and the muscles to relax through her neck, because that'll help control the shoulders. So what I like to think about in the turns is the right rein controls the right leg, the left rein controls the left leg. And that's what we're connecting to. We're always connecting the feet to mean something with the face and the reins here to connect to the feet. So let's go ahead, ask her to turn again. And just get in, try to challenge her and to get in a little bit deeper than before. Now that she's got the seed of the idea of what we're wanting in the turn, let's just ask for a little bit more. She's thinking about it. Pull a little bit more, get a little bit more in. Outside rein. She's a little stiff on the outside rein, outside. Just bump, bump, bump. Bump that left rein a little bit. Good. It doesn't have to be fast. Go ahead and let her slow down a little bit, because when she slows her feet down, she'll be able to think a little better and problem solve what we're asking her to do. So don't worry about her being fast, just that she keeps moving and spinning. But she doesn't have to be fast. Outside right, outside right. So the thing with horses is that the faster their feet are moving, the slower we have to be. And so it's hard to teach a concept to a horse while they're moving quickly. And so as this horse is kind of learning this complete new balance in the spin, we want to slow it down a little bit before we allow her to turn as fast as she has been turning before. Good. Go ahead and walk out. I want you to walk her out and just squeeze and pulling her chin outside of the turn. And just squeeze and let her try to get her brain to slow down a little bit. And you can tell how fast the horse's brain is moving by how quickly they walk. So just pick up, squeeze, try to get her to relax her body, like her muscles to relax. There we go. Did you see your feet slow down? So how fast a horse is walking or trotting and how hard their feet are hitting the ground will give me information for how fast their brain is. And I'm always trying to slow down their brain, because then that's when a horse starts to think logically and problem solve. When a horse's brain is moving fast, they're thinking more emotionally, and you can't teach them things while their brain is moving that fast. Let's see from this other buck spin. Garrett, just keep playing with it. You don't have to stay in the turns for as long, but whenever she gets stuck and you're not making any progress into the turns, go ahead and just take her out and push her around and just focus on softness. Let's go with him. Move your hand, pluck, pluck, and kick. Swing the shoulders. Bring your hands over across a little bit more. Across. There. There it goes. Stop. Good. Okay, so what I don't want to happen, this is not currently what's happening, but what I don't want is for you to have your hands way over here and be dragging him over, but at the same time, I want you to think about that your hands come across them to a certain point, to about where my outside hand is maybe just on this side of the saddle horn, right? I'm crossing over. And then if they're not under my hand, I'm just going to tap them to get them to line up under my hand. So it's the same thing in the spin, where like when my hands are off center, I'm going to tap, tap, and then release. Right? Okay, so swing, it'll feel like you're sitting on the gate over there. Don't sit on the gate, which is the hypothetical. My father would kill me if I sat on the gate. But you're sitting on the gate and someone's pushing the hinge and swinging like this. That's what it'll feel like whenever he makes a spinning step and commits to the spin step. Okay. Tap them under your hand. Just hold your hand there and then tap, tap, tap harder. Get in and get out with your foot. Don't hold it there. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Go ahead and stop. So the other thing that I don't want to do is when a horse is guessing what I want, which means that it's moving its feet and it's trying to find where I want to be, I'm not going to escalate the pressure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stay right there until the horse decides if it guesses correct, and then I'll release the pressure. The only time I'll escalate the pressure is two reasons. One, if it's a horse that is ignoring me. So if I'm moving my hands and I'm tapping and she's sitting there looking off in the distance and she's not even paying any attention to me, then I'll increase that pressure gradually until I get some acknowledgement that she can feel my leg on her, right? And the other reason why is I'm always trying to balance with the horse's confidence and respect, right? So there are some horses, like this mare, that need a lot more confidence, and so I'm going to be very quiet and methodical. It's very rare that I'm going to escalate the pressure. But with other horses, like if I have, a stud foal that I'm starting, that's going to be a personality that I'm going to have to watch to see if he is leaning towards not respecting me enough. And then what I'll do is I'll apply the cue, and then I'll flop and increase that pressure until he does what I would like. But I'm always trying to balance the needs of the horse and their personality and trying to figure out if their horse is lacking in confidence or lacking in respect for me, right? So this horse, whenever he's guessing, I want you to just come in and come out with your foot and just tap, tap, tap. And he's guessing, he's searching, and he's trying to understand. And then just keep going until he guesses correctly. Okay? Because I don't think he's one that is disrespectful. He just doesn't really understand. It is very weird what we're asking him to do, really. So go ahead and ask him to turn again. It is amazing how what we're asking him to do doesn't make any logical sense. Horses can understand. Go ahead. Tap, tap, tap. Kick him a little harder. Tap, tap. Tap. There you go. So for him, if he gives you like 2 or 3 steps in a row that are correct or towards what you want, I would go ahead and stop. I would let it be. I would stay in the turns until he starts to fall apart, and then try to fix it. Over time you can, but for what he is today, right now, I would just like with a little 2-year-old when we're first teaching the turns, just if they give you like 2 or 3 little steps and then stop. Okay. So, and then once they're consistently giving you those steps in a row right away, then you can start staying in it and start playing with it like we were with the other horses. But for where he's at, we're just teaching him the broad concepts of like how to move his shoulders off the rein. So I would just do like 2 or 3 steps at a time. But yeah, a lot of what we teach these horses, very nonsensical. They understand that we want to change directions and travel in a different direction. And they understand how fast we want to get there. But when we're teaching the spins, it's something that doesn't make any sense at all, like logically, to just go round and round and round. And it doesn't make any sense whenever we go to run and stop that we're headed towards a stationary wall, right? But what we've done over the years with breeding horses that are better and better partners for us, it really is phenomenal how willing these animals are to be partners in the work that we do, whatever it is we're going to do, whether it's the show pen or if you're dry working cows, day working cows. They really are phenomenal animals, and if you guys are interested, I have a booth right over there. You can come talk talk to me, ask questions. I'll be hanging out there most of the day. And if you would, I really recommend that you watch Garrett's demos. He's going to be demoing Liberty Work with one of his Mustangs, and then later in the afternoon he's going to be Roman riding on a brand new team of Mustangs that he's trained. And I will also be having a second demo if you would like to come and watch at 1:30 this afternoon. And of course, I highly recommend that you go check out Win Custom Leather to go find some new head stalls and horse gear. Really, really high quality reins and head stalls, and all sorts of goodies over there. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you need me. I'll be over here by the horse stalls, and I'd love to chat with you guys. Thank you.